Hey everyone, welcome to another video. The video today is about why Germans are rude. They're not, obviously, but there is kind of a stereotype that Germans are rude. And I've been trying to figure out why people think Germans are rude. I mean, I personally, I could never really see it myself because I am German. I grew up in Germany, so to me there was nothing strikingly rude about Germans before. But I have now lived in the UK for, well, this is my 5th year in the UK. And I recently went back to Germany for almost a month. And for the first time ever, I could kind of see why people would interpret the behaviour of loads of Germans as rude. And I just thought I'd make a video about that, just to kind of, you know, shine light on the situation and kind of prove that Germans aren't rude. They just behave in a way that may be perceived as rude by others. So the first thing that I want to get into is being direct. I feel like Germans are much more direct. This is not the same as being impolite though, because in Germany I think being direct and truthful is seen as the right thing to do. Whereas I feel in the UK, like British politeness is more about like tiptoeing around things and not saying something. So for example, if you're over a friend's house and they cook and they ask you how's the food and you don't like the food, in Germany you might just say, thank you for cooking, but I'm not a fan of the duck, of the potatoes. You might actually just say when you don't like something. Whereas I feel in the UK, it would be more like, oh my god, I love it, it's so great, like thank you so much for cooking. Which is just different mentalities, I think. It's not necessarily rude for people in Germany to speak their mind because as they see it, a bit more pragmatic maybe. If you get asked how something is, then you might as well tell the truth, right? So I think for Germans that are in other countries, this directness and kind of just tendency to speak the truth might be seen as a bit rude. But really it's not, because in Germany most people do it, and especially like amongst friends, people are just really honest and they will tell you if your rug is ugly. Then another thing that I actually did really notice when I went over to Germany last is emotionlessness. Now I'm not gonna pretend that British people are like the most emotional people ever. I mean, if you've ever watched like American television, then you know Americans love to put on a show. The whole like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like they cry at everything. Like if you watch shows there, they're just all over it. I don't think British people are like that, but take it a few notches down and you might reach Germans, because Germans do not really show emotions very much. I watched an episode of Undercover Boss while in Germany, a show that I think the UK and the US probably have, and it really struck me when I watched it. You know, when the boss invites all of the employees that don't know that he was the boss, basically, he or she was the boss, and then they disclose it. And they're meant to be like surprised, and then the boss gives them like a raise or a promotion, and then they're meant to be like really happy and like cry and stuff. Not in Germany. They actually had to recycle material and replay stuff over and over to just make it seem like they were showing emotion. Like the boss would be like, because of your great work, I'm gonna give you a promotion. And then the camera pans to the guy and the guy's just like, thanks. That's really cool. And there was just no emotion at all, and the camera just kept like panning in his eye and like trying to like make out that there was some kind of emotion when there really wasn't. It was just great. There was just nothing going on. They were just all really stiff and just like, okay, that's awesome. And that's just a German thing, I think. In America, they would have probably been like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, like just, you know, like going crazy. And I feel in the UK, it would have been like a middle thing. It wouldn't have been quite as like in America, but they wouldn't have sat there like Germans. And this is not to be mean about Germans. I'm German myself and I probably would be the same. But it's just a German thing to not really show emotion like that. It's more like just being kind of humble about things and like being a bit more inwards focused. And that's fine. I can see why Germans would be seen as kind of rude and emotionless and a bit stuck up, really, because in a way we maybe we are a bit stuck up. I don't know, like we're just not as like all over the shop, and like just we don't really have our emotions, we don't wear it hard on our sleeve, maybe not as much. It's all a bit more real, a bit more just grey old world, show it as it is. That's kind of the German way, and I think that's alright. It's very similar with like showing affection. I actually wanted to make its own video about this, but I think I'm just going to put it in this video. And it's like, I feel like Germans that are in relationships will not really say I love you either as much or ever. In German we have ich liebe dich, which would be like I love you, but I feel ich liebe dich is kind of almost exclusively meant for like the romantic way of saying I love you. So I wouldn't personally say I love you to my parents because I would feel a bit weird about it. There might be people that do, but I personally wouldn't. I would probably say hab dich lieb, which is like I love you, but like in a friendlier kind of family kind of friendship way. So that's kind of the one that rolls easily off the tongue. But for me as a German person, saying I love you, like ich liebe dich, in a romantic way to someone would take like a lot. Like it's like it would be really difficult for me to say that. And that's just another thing where I think that Germans kind of have maybe a bit of more of a problem to show emotion. But again, that's not a bad thing. I know that Japanese people have like the same kind of issue thing where they have I love you, but no one ever says that because it's like so meaningful that you don't ever use it. And it's kind of the same in German. I mean, you know, with everything being Americanized, I'm sure that nowadays it's more normal to throw it around, but I still think it's not quite the same, and I personally wouldn't really use it ever. So I'm really glad that in English you just have I love you, because I love you rolls off the tongue easily, because English and American people say I love you to everything, like oh my god, I love ice cream, I love this, I love you Justin Bieber, I love everyone. So yeah, this is my analysis of why Germans can come across cold and emotionless and rude. But let me assure you they aren't. They are just very honest, humble people who have a problem with sharing what's going on in them. But as we say in German, silent waters are deep. And with that, I'll leave you. Thanks for watching. Bye!